aggrieved party or in need of assistance could come to me. And anybody who comes to a Sikh's house must be provided food and shelter. This is simply the moral duty of every Sikh. It was also our tradition that Sikh gurus had sacrificed their own sons, their own children, and Sikh martyrs went through all kinds of difficulties but still upheld their values. This Sikh history was my only strength during the time I spent under torture. Then the officers started telling me that I would be killed and that they had a list of all my relations, and they would all be killed too. They wanted me to tell them all the names and the hideouts of the militants with whom I had contact. I was stripped naked and kept that way during all these days in custody at the interrogation center. They used to hold me by my hair and beat me, and insult me by saying things about the Sikh religion. Eventually I was moved from the detention center to jail, where I was charged under TTA. I was bombed out after a month. When I came out of jail I went into hiding, and then eventually I decided to get out of India altogether. I thought for a while of joining a militant movement, but as I have a wife and children I thought that they would be harassed and humiliated if I did that. So I thought it might be more appropriate to continue to serve my nation in another capacity. As there is complete censorship on news media in India, it's hard to get the truth out. For us overseas, our duty should be to educate people about what is going on and let our people's sorrow be known to the world. Our only desire is to be a free people and to join the galaxy of free nations of the world. I believe in peaceful means. But I also believe that the militants have not gone in for militancy as a choice. After I came to this country, one of my nephews was killed in an encounter. The other is in hiding and might be killed any day now. What can we do if our children have taken to that? I think we have no choice but to join them. Now this is the time for all the nations to stand up for the sake of humanity, for the sake of justice. They should not be silent, and they should not allow the great Sikh nation to be killed in the hands of a brutal regime. This is the time for the world to speak up. His wife. I inherited religious teachings and a religious faith. My grandfather was a devout person, and he actually wrote a biography of one of our Sikh saints. My father was in the army. He served in the army for 28 years and was a kind of preacher. When I got married I learned that my husband was not really of a religious bent at all. Due to his influence I also veered away from the religious path. It was a fire of modernism which engulfed me in those days. But when we heard that the Golden Temple had been attacked, we were really shocked. And when we saw that the Sikhs inside the Golden Temple resisted the Indian army with so much courage and bravery, my husband got convinced that some spiritual strength comes from Sikhism which can stand against any odds. Blue Star made a complete change of heart in my husband. He stopped trimming his beard and later proposed that we should get baptized. He started reading a lot and there was a total change in his behavior. It was like a threshold had been crossed that we didn't even know had been there. Though I had a yearning for religion right from my childhood, after my husband got converted we both were strengthened in our resolve and we got baptized. When he went back to his army post after that he got harassed and eventually decided to retire from the army. Then he started working for Akali Dal, the Sikh political party. As for me, I was a teacher of vernacular Hindi. I also used to teach my students about how they could defend their religion and what they needed to do. Some of the people opposed me and came to see my principal about the things I taught. Sometimes people would write my name on the walls, and whenever anything bad happened they would say I was behind it. And while I was teaching, I also helped my husband in his political work and became convinced that the militant struggle was the only way to obtain our rights. Militants don't come out of the womb of a mother. It is the system, the circumstances, that have converted them. The young boys, those who have time to read, to enjoy life, to travel, if they are in hiding or awaiting the hour of their deaths, who can say what they will choose to do? Who chooses that kind of life? It is a compulsion. We fully sim with them, and we support them since we believe that they choice. The Indian government is our enemy, and it is clear that we live with them. If they are calling us terrorists or something like this, it doesn't make much difference, as they are our enemy and they expected to say anything. That only makes us more firm in our belief that we can't live with these people, and the only solution for us is an independent sovereign nation. After my husband came to the United States, police raided our home many times. They used to jump over the walls, come inside, and ask whether militants come to the house. One day one police official came along with 4 constables. They said that my husband in the United States was active in political activities there and none of our lives would be spared. He asked for a list of all my relatives, and said he would keep it in his pocket. He said that if any of his bodyguards or any of his police were hurt in any way, he would kill all the relatives on that list. I got scared on that night and thought it would not be safe there. I thought they would deal with me as they deal with other Sikh families. That is, that they enter the houses and rape the women. So I left with my children and went into hiding. 5 or 6 days later, the police broke into my house. They took all the furniture and everything that was left. I was glad I wasn't there, or I would have been raped or humiliated in other ways. Thank God my honor was saved. I don't fear being killed, but I don't want to be dishonored. My husband and I haven't come to this country out of fear, but out of desire that the world should know what is going on over there. There is such control in India that the news about Punjab is totally suppressed. We expect that the government of the United States and all human rights groups should help us in achieving our freedom. We are broad-minded people, we are very nice people, we will have a nation of noble people. We will even forgive those who have done these things to us, but at all costs we must get our freedom. We want to live in dignity and honor. That's what the whole Sikh nation wants. As for my sons, I'll feel proud if they get killed for a holy cause. The body has to die, but those who die for honor never die, for they are immortal. When some Sikh women were in the custody of the Mughal emperor in Lahore, their small sons were put to death right in front of their eyes. They were thrown onto swords and their bodies were chopped and made into garlands, and the Sikh women had to wear these necklaces made of the chopped bodies of their children. With folded hands they thanked God that their children had stood the test of their faith and had died bravely. I have only 2 sons, and if they get sacrificed, it will be the great grace of the Guru that we will be able to give back what was the gift of God to us. As for Operation Blue Star, I can say that it gave us a rude awakening. It became clear just what the place of Sikhs was in India. Nobody could avoid facing up to the basic fact that we had no safe home there anymore. I therefore thank the Indian government for that.